Hello and welcome everyone in another episode of Researcher Celebrity. Today we have Dr. Rohit Singh Chauhan with us, and he is a medical doctor. A brief introduction about Rohit: he has done his MBBS from Rani Durgavati Medical College, Banda, UP, and is currently pursuing MD in Dermatology from AIIMS Gorakhpur. With this brief introduction, I would welcome Rohit. Thank you so much, Rohit.
Thank you so much for this brief introduction. It means a lot, and thank you so much.
So we always start these conversation being researcher celebrities that how and when you decided that you want to do research and become a researcher.
It's always been kind of a dream to just pursue my career in this medical field, and as you work in a medical field, it's kind of mandatory that you do some sort of research and like I really wanted to understand what medical science is really all about, how this life sciences come into play when you just want to just like need to know things about it. So yeah, it's always been like
Okay, so let's start from the 12th standard. Everyone in India, like if they opted for biology, medical field, the first dream is that everyone want to do MBBS, become the doctor. So
yeah.
that is the path which you chose, correct?
It was never the part of the plan, I would say. That came like accidentally that happened, I would say. I was weak at mathematics and I wanted to take science in my life, and I was like little bit good in academics and, as you would say, in biology. So I opted for biology, and becoming a doctor or doing MBBS was never part of plan because my resources were limited, and I thought like I would take uh, I would do a graduate degree in biochemistry or maybe in biotechnology and settle for a job or something. But my relatives and my father really encouraged me to go for MBBS, and there is like cutthroat competition in India in terms of MBBS. So after a drop or two, I like cleared the competition and I just came into MBBS, and my life like literally got changed after coming into MBBS. And I really got to know big people like personality around me that really inspired me to become a doctor. And my academics was kind of a good, and then like my fellow colleagues as well, and my teachers and the doctors whom I'm just like working with, they really inspired me to go to places and have talks, attend conferences. And after that I got inspired and worked hard for even postgraduate entrance exam, and I just got AIMS. So
Yeah. So being at AIIMS itself is dream for so many Indians. And talking about your bachelor degree, MBBS, when you were pursuing, were that at any point of time that you really wanted to do research because it's so demanding? MBBS itself is, patient care and whatnot, all doing your all the courseworks and everything. What was one thing which, if you would like to share, that kept you going after all those sleepless nights? Okay. I'm sure there were many.
yeah, there were many. There were many.
So you were like, okay, I do not want to give it up, but I want to pursue even to next level and want to do research.
Actually, during my UG days, undergraduate days, my college was not at a very good level. I would say it's a very resource limited college, and there were like the faculty there was even at short. So we don't have that much resources, and whatever resources we were having, so we used to just read a lot of literature about things, about medicine, about dermatology, about each and every subject. So we used to find the limitation in them and plan our research accordingly. I unfortunately or fortunately, I didn't get a chance to do research in my UG days, but here in post graduation, I'm doing thesis here also. There are some few research articles and lot of case reports we are doing. So there are a lot of published work we are doing in post graduation currently.
So normally for medicine, especially in India, people around the globe, they work with so in association with researchers, and some of the clinicians are actively doing research. Either it is developing something new or being trials or whatnot. Or what have you tasted in your, as you mentioned, in your post graduation day, what you're pursuing right now in dermatology? If you can share something, what motivated you to actually pursue research?
Actually, the motivation is my current HOD, which I'm working under. I didn't know much about like what is research, as we came from a resource limited college. So here, when I joined AIIMS, my HOD, that is Dr. Sunil Kumar Gupta, he has been always a big inspiration to us, and he has always driven us. He has always driven us. Just go for it, do research, do new things, because there is a lot of limitation, lot of gap in whatever literature we are having, because every article or every paper that come on PubMed or any of the database, there is always a lot of research gap that is there. So he always try to inspire us, ki find those gaps in literature, find those void in literature, and do your work accordingly. In because like life sciences, when you talk about biology, when you talk about uh, like literature, what we are having, even in the field of dermatology, there is a lot of gap in literature currently. When we talk about vitiligo, when we talk about any of the dermatosis, so there is in etiopathogenesis, there is still that it's not known, it's unknown, it's not well elucidated. So there is always a wide gap in between, so you can work it out, and there is always a new treatment coming online. And each passing day you can see that like FDA has approved a new drug, they have given a new drug. So accordingly that, and India has a vast variety of population, even the ethnicity, there is wide variation. So trying a drug that is like FDA approved in USA, so you can always have a different data in India, because there is a lot population to cater. So there are always trial going on in our department on the population in eastern UP and Bihar. So yeah.
Absolutely. And this brings us to the research core of your thesis part also. So mostly what happens in general for medical field is like, okay, you got your degree, you start practicing, and then you don't go for, as you mentioned, about manuscripts, about PubMed, about research articles, what is coming up. This is a trend which is changing now, and we have seen this good contribution of Indian doctors coming into research and actively, you know, developing or helping the society in different ways, as you mentioned. So the role of the mentors to navigate the research path for you. Let's talk about that. That you mentioned about Dr. Sunil Kumar Gupta, being your HOD.
Yeah.
So he is the one who saw that you are interested in research, or because of his guidance, you were interested in research? How did that start?
I think like both happened simultaneously. I would say that was very organic. I would say, because when we join MD program or MD degree in India, there is a mandatory thing that you have to do a thesis alongside your completing your degree. So initially in our 6 months, we have to submit protocol for our thesis. So, and my guide is my HOD sir. So the topic was decided according to our interest. I have an interest in hair disorders. So my HOD has helped me to decide my topic, that is alopecia areata. So because of the research gap that is there in alopecia areata, we have decided to work on tofacitinib, that is the new drug, that is a JAK-STAT inhibitor. So, and we have decided to like work with the derma roller, that a procedure along with the topical tofacitinib. So because he inspired, because he has a lot of article that has already been published, so because of his work, and he has he's a great motivator. He always motivates you to do something extra, something out of the box. So because of when I just came into the department, I got to know about his accomplishment. So that's always an inspiring thing. Apart from that, he always just have something extra. He always had something extra. When you just go with a topic, with a research article, he has always some input to it. Ki, have you thought about something else? Have you not uh, checked the limitations? You could have worked this out in the other way. So he has always like some input to it, and he has always pushed us and help us navigate the path, I would say.
Absolutely. And so for here, I would like to say to all the audience that having a mentor who can tell you what are your strengths and how you can navigate through the weaknesses also is part of that. And reviewing those articles is one thing which is very important, as you mentioned, Rohit, that every publication has some limitation, some achievements, and then it gives you a new path that how you can either improve the field or pursue that to the next step, being it a FDA approved drug. And now, if you have to do the clinical trials in India, then there is the path which is already there. But thinking out of the box is what I think is one of the most important part what a mentor plays in the life of the mentees. Speaking of which, you mentioned about the limited resources in your UG, and then how you see that difference now. If I can say that at Rani Durgavati Medical College when you were doing your MBBS, and now at AIIMS Gorakhpur doing MD, the research phase of that, how it has been changed.
In during my UG days, we were not aware of much of research work, I would say, because the faculty was already short there, and we don't have a culture of doing the research work at that point of time. We were only like busy in academic work, or studying something like that, doing a clinical posting. But when I came to AIIMS, I really got to know that there is a lot of research work is going on in here, and people are like really doing something extra here, and they are on always on toes. Apart from doing the academic work, apart from doing the clinical work, they are doing a lot more research work, and that got me intrigued, I would say. And uh, and my mentors, both mentor, my HOD sir and my other clinician ma'am, consultant, she has done, both have done a lot of work in area of dermatology. And then they, and each passing day during our rounds also, the IPD work also, they just like try to give something extra point. And they'll just try, because there is one point that if you have read a literature enough on a topic, then only you would know that there is a gap in the literature that you can work on. If you have a like little knowledge, you cannot work it out, you cannot have a void, you cannot find the void in literature. So those, both of these consultants, they are amazing. They have a like vast variety of literature. They have read literature very thoroughly. So they would just impart us, give us hints that you can work in these areas, or you can think of other way. And they will always push us out of the box, and try to give us, because we are at a very naive level, I would say. We are at a very low level, so we don't know much about it. But they will always share more articles about it, that you should read a lot more literature on these areas, not on everything, but these areas, so that you can find a void and just do your work accordingly. So they have helped us out. And here the consultants have a vast variety of knowledge. They have read those topic like well enough, so they all also give us those like areas
Absolutely.
of
So
interest.
this is something which comes up in researcher celebrity conversations, that how when you join a new lab, or like it is your starting days of research, you see your peers claiming, like, naming the authors by year, their publication, and then it feels like at a shock to you, because it is your first time, and then you're like, these people are so well informed with the current publication dated when it started. So this is one thing which we always say, that having done your groundwork, which is like the field you are interested in, you have to be the on top of that, at least for the literature, when you are doing your first year of research, be it in phd, be it in research, as now you are just pursuing your MD. So, Rohit, one thing, if you can say that now the technology is so, like, it gives you that freedom that you can access any article. It was not there 20, 40 years ago. It was so different that you have to go to libraries, physical journals, and do that. How your training as a clinician has helped you navigate things like when now when you are doing your research, you have your thesis plan. How did that what I'll say is, like, from your MBBS days to your MD time, something which has changed with the guidance of your mentors to make you a researcher.
Initially, like during my UG days, we didn't know that these database are available to read literature like PubMed, Scopus, or any of the other database. We didn't know that. So any of the literature, if we have to read, we just go to the standard textbooks like Davidson, Bailey, or something like that. So we just go to these books, and it takes a lot of time. If you want to read something, you have to just, you don't know what you have to read particularly. So in UG days, we have to just like start a chapter, then cover up whole of the literature, or find the offline journals in the library, and most of the time they were not available in a library. So we used to just have like blind ends. We don't know what to just like when to have a full stop. But when you just like when I came into the PG, so my like mentor literally have just like set us down and told us things that how you have to navigate when you are just going for the literature review. So first of all, he has told us that these are the database that you have to access, like PubMed and like Scopus and other database, and they have told us like how to just really do your do these literature review very efficiently, like using the mesh terms, like how you just want to, if you want to search for vitiligo, and like use the mesh term vitiligo, and apart from that use the keywords like treatment and treatment, what are the tofacitinib supposed like JAK-STAT inhibitors that are coming in the market. So you just add on these mesh terms and then find the articles. And apart from that, if you want to just work it out, and you can add on the filters like last 5 years, what are the articles, what are the scoping reviews that have came up, and what are the randomized control trials that are going on, what and like what are the RCTs in phase 3 or phase 4. You can just navigate whole, because mentors are very important to tell you about things ki, how the things should be done, and what you can get out of these. So
Absolutely.
that's the
And
difference.
and speaking of your research thesis question, when so there are two ways we always have these conversations, that either you have the project developed by your mentor, whatever is going on in the lab, or you come up with something which aligns with it but might not be done in that lab. So what was your approach, and how your mentors helped that?
Actually, my mentor, like initial 6 months, where we have to submit a protocol, we have to just come up with a topic. Ki, what are your areas of thesis? What are your area of interest? So my HOD was just like, he has like only one thing: you have to decide your topic by yourself. I'm not
Oh.
going to tell you. You have to figure it all out. I'm not going to tell you because it's your thesis. You should be the one who's just like ruling your thesis out. So
Mhm.
on each passing day, I'll just go with the topic, sir. I want to work in this. And he said, like, it's already done. You don't have to. You just come up with something new. So he have always pushed us. Ki, you have to just figure it out by yourself, no matter what. So on each passing day, I'll just go with sir, ki, sir, I want to do thesis on this. And he said, like, do dig deeper. You have to just like go through literature a lot more. No, you are just like going it on very superficially. So on one day, I said, ki, sir, I want to work on hair. And he said, like, you can work on alopecia areata because it's like a growing interest currently. So I said to sir, ki, I want to work like on oral tofacitinib. Sir said, ki, it has already been done. You should like work on topical tofacitinib because there is some limited data on that. The randomized control trial has not been done in a large amount of population in India. I said, sir, topical tofacitinib, it's done, but we can add on a procedure arm when you just want to do a
Mhm.
randomized control trial. So my two arms are like, one is tofacitinib with microneedling, and another one is the plain tofacitinib. There's no add-on. So he said, yeah, it works very well. And then we have like Devisa protocol. Sir has helped me a lot, and we have Devisa protocol. We have submitted it, and we have registered it with the IC, ICTR. And after that, like now, right now, I'm working on my thesis.
Nice, nice, very good. And this is one thing which comes up often, that having your mentors coming up with your own ideas, it gives you that time that you do all the literature survey, and then also once you commit to a topic which you have came up with, you are more, committed to it. Then if somebody tells you that, okay, this is what you are going to do your research on, either it is a research project or a master's thesis or even PhD, that's what we have seen in our these conversations. So now, Rohit, when you are actively pursuing the research, you have seen that the hypothesis doesn't go the way you feel, and at the stage you are.
Exactly.
So, how do you deal with that? Uh, those days when the things are not working as you thought, which eventually you have to publish. So let's go by failed experiments, or when the experiments are not following hypothesis. How do you deal with that?
I think my sir has always told me when I just like was submitting my protocol. I said like topical treatment don't work very efficiently when you talk about it. You need to have oral drugs. So I was like telling my sir, ki, what if like alopecia areata turn into alopecia totalis, like whole of the hair will go away, and I'm on topical treatment. What will happen? Sir said ki there are two aspects of a thesis result. Either it's working or it's not working, and a negative result is itself a result that you can publish it that it's not working. You have to like negative result of any article or any thesis, it's itself a result that it's not working. You can publish a negative thing that the correlation is not being found, and you have to encourage yourself out of it that you can work in another direction. So you don't have to feel demotivated by if your hypothesis is not going with the result you have expected in your mind. So you can work in other another ways, and there are always bad days. You cannot have 100% results from any of the thesis or any of the hypothesis which you have like thought of in mind. But you have to work it in very, I would say, with a lot of dedication, a lot of discipline, and if you're doing in those direction, the result will come out bad or good. So you have to work it out.
I think that's a true researcher at core, because there is nothing called as negative result. It is the hypothesis. Either it is
Yep, yep.
working or it is not, as you mentioned, and that's a great mentor advice we always share in these at this platform, that never marry a hypothesis. You just hypothesize, you do your groundwork before coming up with the hypothesis. It might or might not fulfill, and that's the beauty of research, that whatever data you generate, that is the data. It might, and some of the biggest inventions actually came out when the hypothesis was not fulfilled. So having that perspective is what makes a person researcher, that okay, I have this data which is not following the hypothesis. Now how I carve a new path, and that's when it ends up starting a new field of research in so many different times. So what has happened, Rohit, in your case, whenever you were doing all these the days when the hypothesis is not fulfilled, okay, when you have the data which is called as negative data, how you come up next day or prepare yourself next day, that okay, that day has been gone, I want to do it again and again and again.
And the most challenging things with my thesis is, as it's a randomized control trial, is the follow up of the patient, and that is like very difficult. I have to call the patient daily that you have to come no matter what. You have to just do your follow up very regularly, and when the patient didn't come up, so your data becomes incomplete and your sample size is not fulfilling, and you feel like I am doing my work accordingly what how it should be done. But and you feel demotivated at times. Oh my god, I'm doing everything I can. I'm like talking to patient, I'm just like calling them again and again, and yet they are not coming. So there are hard days, there are like bad days, you feel like, and you feel demotivated. But my mentors and my colleagues and everyone, they just push me through, and we see like and the most, I would say, the beam of light in thesis work when your patient feels satisfied. Even if like apart from like in even in 10 patients, even if one patient is like giving you a good result, that itself feels like, yeah, I can go on like on 10 patients more, and you can work it out on 10 patients more. And when the results come eventually, because when you start your thesis, when you start your groundwork, first days you cannot just expect like you will just get 100% result. And first day you cannot say that your hypothesis or your just like protocol may just go into the direction which you have expected. So when you just like go with your thesis like after 1 month or 2 months, and you feel like the patients are like, when you're doing your input work and the patient can see, yeah, it's working, it's going in the direction, and you think like the results are coming up, that gives you that motivation to go on further, go on further. And there are times when your patient is like showing, not showing the enough result, you don't feel like it's not working, and there might be wrong something in you, that you are not and the patient is not following up properly, or you are not doing enough for the work. But that actually is like things that is itself is a result, that it's not coming in the way itself is a result. Suppose in our previous literature, there's suppose like 78% of the patient has shown the result, but according to it data, 78 are not showing. It's 75 or 70% is showing because of the genetic reconstitution, or even if the even that depends on a drug, that depends on the patient compliance, I would say. So this is the data that you have gathered, and you shouldn't be doubting yourself, because you are doing your thing very like and with lot of dedication, lot of hard work. So you shouldn't be doubting yourself. And self doubt itself, like it's a thing that would like take you in the wrong direction. So never self doubt yourself, and just go with the flow.
That's a very mature advice to all the audience here, that self doubt is not a good thing to keep it. And having doing your research with these patients, follow ups, you are doing whatever the best you can. And still, there are times when things do not go the way. So that brings us to the next topic when we talk about burnouts in researchers. Like when you feel that, okay, I'm exhausted, I need that. So, have you felt those burnouts, and then how did you overcome those?
Obviously, I don't know. I haven't met a researcher or met a resident who just never felt burnt out. It always happen. It always happens. And when you just, because there is a lot of things you have to do when you're doing a research, and the most complicating thing is data collection. And after even data collection, the most challenging part is data interpretation. How you just like maintain your data well. Everyone can collect data, but they cannot just interpret that data well, and they just cannot keep that data in a regular form or in a well concise form, so you can interpret things out of that. So you have to keep data in a very systematized way, very systemic way, so you can just interpret things out very well. And on some days, like the patient which you are enrolling, they are a lot, and your phone have, or your like wherever you are storing your data, they get formatted, and there are things that happen which are not in your control, and you feel like, oh my god, how it's just like get done after a while. So with patience, with lot of hard work, and those days where like those burnout days, you can always ask for help. There's like, you should not be like doing things on your own. If you feel like, okay, the pressure is too much, things are just like happening too much, so there are always your colleague, your mentor, they are always there to help you. And just you can just take a also a little bit pause or rest at that point of time, navigate your things out. You can just go out for dinner, like have a, these are the things like I do for myself. Whenever I just feel burned out, I talk to my family, I talk to my mentor, and just try to take guidance from them. Ki, what should I do? Am I like going wrong or something like that? So they always just like say, pause for a bit, you can just take a day or two for yourself, figure your things out, and you just feel motivated after that, and just work on it a bit more harder, I think.
Absolutely. I think having acknowledging those burnout is the first step you take to rejuvenate yourself. And then,
Yeah,
as you
obviously.
mentioned, that everyone has their own different support systems, be it friends, family, and talking to mentors is one of the most important part, which you always should do, that seeking their guidance, their help, that where are you missing onto that. This actually helps. Sometimes what we have seen in current research scenario, where paper retraction is increasing, because either the student or like this mentor mentee program was not working really well for those, so they modified their data, they manipulated it as per requested. And that happens when there is this lack of conversation, like the transparency between mentor and mentee. This happens mostly because of that. And then always the students are most of the time the scapegoats, so which is not fair. And at this platform, in these conversation at researcher celebrities, we always say that research the follows the fundamental rules. Okay, if whatever it comes, and Rohit, you put it out like brilliantly, that how you interpret your data is what makes you a researcher. Whatever you have on your plate is the way you say that, okay, now I will take a different loop, whatever have people have done that with the same data. And that's why we see that now the publications, sometimes it's only about the different way of interpretation gives you this publication on the data, which already was there like 100 years ago. Talking of publications, whenever you submit your findings, research findings, you get review, okay, the peer review. Whenever the reviewers, would you like to share something on those manuscripts which you got it back, and then reviewers are sometimes not very, logical?
I don't think like whenever just like I've submitted my articles and the reviewers most of the time they are like helpful in I would say like making my article more uh, informative. I would say they have always worked on that path. And whenever I've like yeah, I've submitted 2 or 3 articles, and whenever just review they came and you were reading, so you were just like huh, there are like points which I've just like forgot to mention, and they just tell us that path like how you can make your discussion or even the case report in a very logical way, and I've missed that part and I have to include these parts as well. And they have not outright rejected it. I have not seen that, because they are sitting at a position and they cannot just because we are at a very low level and we are just postgraduate student.
Mhm.
So I would say the peer review never comes to that point. They will just feel you demotivated, they will feel you discouraged by these findings. They have always given key, these are the findings you should work, and if you cannot provide these things, so maybe we should like uh, you should just like maybe seek for another journal, or you can just like if you can provide these things, then it's well and good. So they have always given us paths to work on. So
That's a great way, keeping this optimism and acknowledging the inputs of reviewers is very important, and that actually is how all the peer reviews works. Now, walking towards the edge of the conversation, I would like to ask one thing, Rohit. Just starting your research, okay, how do you see yourself as a researcher after your degree is completed? Is this something which you really want to do and are passionate about?
yeah, like after like 1.5 year, or like after 1.5 year in my residency, I never thought when I joined this program or joined my post graduation, I've never thought I would be in these researching direction. But after 1.5 year, I would like confidently say I want to pursue this research work more and more, because there are a lot of things. There is on each passing day there is one exciting thing that come up with either with the patient or with the treatment course or with the like on follow up. There is always one exciting thing with each patient that you want just feel like yeah, this worth publishing for. You can do more. If you are just living giving a drug, you can just like there are side effects with that. And even the side effects for a drug is like a publishable thing, you can do that. And like with each passing patient, with each passing consultation, you like the medical field is intriguing, it's exciting, and you always want to just like do this thing more and more. There is like a little bit of I would say a dopamine rush that comes with each passing uh, patient. So I would say I want to do it more and more.
Nice. And we see that excitement and enthusiasm in you, being an established researcher sometime soon. So, with this, we'll say that to all the audience that if you want to write to Rohit, you can write. If you want STEM for Society to help you bridge this gap between our researcher celebrities and you, we are there to help you. Only thing which we always say, and like you have to be passionate about it. If you think research makes you happy, we are here to help you. And one last thing, Rohit, before I say thank you for your time, one last thing, if I say that one piece of advice, if you want to share with our audience, that research is not always, all the blossoms. It has its own share of thorns, how they should navigate.
About research is like, if you were just thinking your research will be like full of flowers, full of positivity, it's not. It's the reality. It's like a reflection of your life. There are good days, there are bad days, and there are just like average days. So there is only one thing during a research: just take one day at a time. Take one day at a time and just float through that, go with the flow, whatever it's like coming across you. You have to just reflect that thing, maybe like little bit absorb it, but just don't take it on your head, because it at the end of the time, it's life. You have your good days, you have just bad days, just go with the flow, I would say.
Great. Thank you so much, Rohit, for your time sharing this experience with our audience. And for all the audience, I'll say stay tuned for another episode of Researcher Celebrity. Thank you so much, Rohit.
Thank you for having me. Thank you so much.